Hello, Sonal. Thanks a lot for accepting the invite from Vegan Dukan, and always look forward to talk with somebody like you who has been pioneering vegan product brands and all. So yeah, so you are director of Compassionate Choices Private Limited. You are CEO of White Cub, which is first vegan ice cream in India, and you are also awarded with WEE award as well as Cherry Blair award. So can you give a little idea about your roots and your background before turning vegan, if you can ask?
Yeah, so very warm good evening, Sagar, and thank you so much for having me over at Vegan Dukan. The very uh, term Vegan Dukan is pretty exciting for me, and you know the reason why, because there is the word vegan in it. So I love
Correct.
promoting the word, and I think that's a core part of my identity. And
Yes.
yeah, so roots, I think I'm born for animals, and becoming a vegan was just a matter of time for me, as in when the awareness of different sectors of animal exploitation came onto my journey, and yeah, so I mean, it was destined to happen. I'll take it that way because as a child, I always uh, felt that connectivity to non-human animals, and for the general awareness, for the general knowledge of the viewers, I may end up referring to animals as non-human animals. So that's my usual way of referring to animals, because even human beings are a part of the animal kingdom.
Right.
And yeah, so I've always had that uh, sense of empathy and not just sympathy for non-human animals. And as I was growing up, I was fortunate enough to watch certain episodes of Heads and Tails, which used to be a very popular TV program during my childhood days.
Heads and tails.
Yes, Heads
What is
and
that?
Tails by Mrs. Menaka Gandhi. So she would take
Oh.
up one topic of uh, animal exploitation industry, and kind of give details onto it.
Hmm.
So sometime it used to be silver foil. During those days, silver foil was still non-vegetarian and non-vegan. And
Warak.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and then bone china, or of course the simpler, the more visible, easily detectable, the cool commodities like leather, etc. were also certainly
Right.
covered. And then in one episode, dairy got covered.
Oh wow.
Now, now here where
Which year you are
I'm
talking about? Sorry.
I think I must have been in class eighth. I'm I'm around, I think, 43 to 45 years of age by now, so you can calculate backwards.
Okay.
And yeah, uh, and when I saw that episode, I still remember me watching that episode. I could start connecting the dots finally as to why I used to be feeling awkward when I would be going to the dairy, and I was still a little child, like much
Hmm.
more younger than that phase of mine when I was in class 8th, when I got to watch that TV episode, wherein I would see these uh, dairy people, dairy owners, Lalit and Vijay were their names, and so they would get very uncomfortable when a male calf used to be born at their place, preferring not to reveal to anyone among their customers that a male calf
Yes.
has been
Yes.
born. And then, whenever my mom used to be sending me in the evening hours of taking milk, so I would see that a truck would come by, and few rough uh, looking men would descend from the truck and would kind of enter the dairy, and take away the male calf. And at that time,
Hmm.
Lalit and Vijay never had the uh, willingness to actually look into the eyes of any of the customers, and even the customers were
All
very much
right.
comfortable uh, uh, actually looking here and there. So none of them, and they were all adults all around me. I used to be the only little one, I think in maybe class 2 or class 3, because that dairy was just behind our house.
Hmm.
Um, who would be, like, as a child you are innocent and you are open to accepting whatever you are seeing, and you have not yet got trained into shutting your eyes closed towards the uncomfortable realities. So
Right.
that was what was happening to me during that time. And
Could you make out
then
what they were doing actually when
I
they were
know
collecting the
because
calves?
no, Sagar, because I knew that I'm a part of a very kind-hearted vegetarian family, and my papa had helped.
That superiority all the vegetarians have, right?
Yeah, 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 and and also that I used to be witnessing specific acts of kindness by my family, so yeah, so lots of them, lots of such episodes right now come to my mind,
Right.
and I knew that nothing is wrong, and then no one actually told me back then that that truck used to be of the slaughterers and the butchers. So, and of course, and I also used to be feeling odd when I would be observing those cows and buffaloes day in and day out, sitting amidst the huge piles of their own shit and their own, urine, and very small laces for them to be tied and standing the whole day long, abdomen, uh, my abdomen, I'll say, because there is no even space, proper space of standing, say, back to back. I mean, they're all so tightly packed with each other, irrespective of whether they are feeling hot or uncomfortable, or their calf is being taken away. So lot
True.
of misery, and those oxytocin injections were so much in fashion, I'll say.
Those times, like now I think it, India wide there is a ban on that, but now those times you have
Yeah.
witnessed all those things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
So
wow.
by the time I was in class 8, oxytocin injections had already got banned, because I
Right.
remember Mrs. Menaka Gandhi mentioning about it in that episode as well.
Correct.
But still, they were continuing to be used by the dairy farmers against
Correct.
Jain. And I used to see Vijay stabbing the cows, the milking cows and buffaloes with those injections. So yeah, so finally, good part for me happened that when I watched this episode, that I could connect the dots finally, and that's where the consciousness really started. And then I started dropping consumption of specific animal derived items like leather, like silk, so on and so forth. My marriage preparations had a little touch of this, in the sense that I had specifically requested my in-laws not to gift me any silk saris,
Mm-hmm.
and thankfully they obliged and they did not make a fuss about it. Otherwise, usually,
Very
some
nice.
arranged marriages have this silk thing, silk sari, and etc. etc. So, and of course, no watch with leather strap, etc. Yes, all that was carrying on, and by the time I entered into college, that was an extremely interesting phase of its own, because while I also started volunteering for organizations like People for Animals, because all I could do in my non-studies time was think about animals and think of ways of how to help them, the animals on the streets. So one contribution I could do during those days was helping the injured, the homeless animals, and besides that, when I was in college, I was also staying in a hostel, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where the story really starts. The story of guilt, and the huge burden of guilt which I've carried on till actually few days back, literally few days back. So so in our hostel we used to get butter every day during breakfast, and so bread and butter,
Correct.
and jam. And I wasn't too much of a meetha person, so I would look around for those girls in the hostel who were not taking their share of butter, because it was a rationed food item, and I
Hmm.
would want to have some, and so I would take their share as well. And but simultaneously, as I shared with you, Sagar, that because I had, I was on that journey of eliminating, dairy-based, like animal-based ingredients one by one. So this is the year for reference sake, around 94, 95.
Oh, wow.
So, so I had stopped drinking milk in the form of tea by then.
Okay.
So I would take only black coffee and black tea, and but of course paneer had continued, and so had butter. And then I was sitting on the meals table with a hardcore non-vegetarian friend of mine, and somehow she came up with this form of bullying me. She said, "You know, you are such a hypocrite, Sonal, because I do see you enjoying your butter cube and the paneer which gets served in the dinner at times, but you told us all on the corridor, like she was also my corridor mate in the hostel, so that that you are off milk, liquid milk, because
Correct.
it's cruel." And how much I hated her for branding me as a hypocrite.
Correct.
And but in retrospect, Sagar, I think she was totally right. I think I was just taking reports to the whole self excuse, and not to kind of have the burden of uh, agreeing and accepting that yes, I'm yet not bold enough to actually see that temptation of butter into its face and to ward it off simply from my life.
Correct.
Rather, I had taken a refuge under the fact that I'm staying in a hostel and the hostel does not have a kitchen. So, what will I do if I'll not get that butter cube? So, I wish I was, maybe I was more resolved, and more you know having much more conviction during that time itself. Nonetheless, what had to happen happened, and then finally, all those years of guilt finally um, gave way to us, the company White Cup, the brand White Cup, finally making vegan butter of their own.
So wait, just a minute. So we are at your college time, and the struggle as a vegan person, right? Like aspiring vegan person. This also gives a lot of idea, right? That what any aspiring vegan consumer would be going through.
Yeah.
Because first thing is temptation. Probably another very close thing is the convenience, what we always talk about, and that makes it very difficult. And those both things you face in your hostel life, right? So convenience, yes, that was a challenge. Probably taste temptation was always putting you off the track of going completely off animal products. So I think those are very important lessons you learned early on, though it was all experiment on yourself. But that also gives us very good view when we are into vegan business, or when we are talking about vegan philosophy, that what people would be going through. Yes, we want that world to change vegan as soon as possible, but these are the practical challenges we are trying to handle. And that's where we are trying to do same thing so that the journey becomes smoother for people.
Yeah,
Everybody will
one,
not have
sorry,
same conviction. Yeah.
sorry, Sagar. Yeah, the third reason which kind of holds many of us back is, one was the convenience, second was the taste temptation, third is
Correct.
the excuse which many youngsters take in the form of their parents not allowing them. That the third reason was a very big factor in my life. So I would say that my mother has not allowed me to yet quit dairy.
That is
That is
there.
why I'm still supposed to continue consuming dairy. Yeah.
True, true. Because people still so yes, definitely our parents' generation, are hardwired to believe that um, animal products are so important for health, and that is how it is projected all the time. And then a lot of science studies has not been so popular or so accessible for us, so it becomes very difficult to make them understand also. But yeah, I think, yeah, that is definitely one more part where social pressure or peer pressure plays a lot of role in making your journey a little difficult. So yeah, that is that. So now also want to know, like, how about family? Like, probably you totally quit all the animal products, and then you started your own family, you got married. Then how was it? How.
Yes. So, yeah. Please. Yeah. Please complete the question.
Yeah, so it was more about how do you maintain that completely new life with, apparently nobody has understood in that era, right? That not turning vegan, but abstaining from dairy products in vegetarians' family is also as difficult. So
Yeah.
how was that?
Yeah, so Sagar, I turned vegan when my twins, they turned 1 year of age,
Okay.
and that's the time even they were made to turn vegan. Howsoever
Okay.
exploitative it may sound to the non-vegan parents that I was the dominating vegan parent. How could I?
Yes, want to learn more about that as well. I have also asked you earlier, right? Maybe last year I was asking you that, how do you see ensure that, children are getting, all the nutritions and we are not taking any risk with them. We have grown doing whatever we have been told. But this is a very new way to do it, and it also makes me under pressure. That am I doing something wrong? I have consumed everything, probably good or bad, but I was not completely on different track and going against social norms. But for children, I also have been very hesitant, actually speaking. And there is one more story for that. But yeah, please talk about your story first.
Yeah, yeah. So with us, I still remember the day of the final switch because I had ordered cake from a regular bakery with the order of like a cream cake because I had thought back then, and this is when I was staying in London during those days. So even then, I had thought that once I'll become a vegan, I will not be able to have any of the typically dairy laden items. So this is around 15 years back, approx. Like
Wow.
my children are I think by now 16 years of age, or maybe they'll turn 16 next month. Yeah. So they are September born. So yeah, and so I had ordered a cake for myself, and I had gone to Pizza Hut with my husband and my kids, eating like a pizza with cheese on it, and because thinking that I would never ever be able to get cheese ever again in my life. So yeah, so but yes, Sagar, I think I must give credit to myself that I became a vegan at a time when these alternatives were actually not available.
Exactly. Yes.
So yes, so I can totally um, I mean believe this that and I have strong reasons to believe in the form of my own experience
True.
that we do not need alternatives if we have to become a vegan. Like the way it happened with me. I mean, I still remember that particular Pizza Hut to which we had gone and that particular bakery from which I had ordered. But yes, I mean, I do eat cheese even now because then we had come to India and then the food vegan entrepreneurship it's kind of started and
Correct.
people were either importing or people were making and so all those things had started here finally and uh, and these things were not there even in London very easily available back then.
True.
So, but yeah, I mean things always change for the better. I feel, and so that is why the alternatives have come about. Um, but I've always believed that um, while when I say we, I mean setups like Vegan Dukan or setups like White Cub, or the thousands or at least hundreds of other typically vegan
Correct.
startups in the Indian space. While we continue to be here and we are serving as many Indians as possible, um, our lack or our absence should not ideally imply discouragement of the vegan scene. I mean, I think one ought to turn vegan simply because I mean, it's so uncool to be a part of cruelty to an animal.
No,
So, yeah.
that is true. Like, um, I would say, and I'm just, guessing with a lot of optimism that if today all the vegan entrepreneurs are told that, world is going to turn vegan, would you quit your businesses? I won't say anybody will say no about that because everybody is here for the same reason. And everybody had their own passion. It's not that, everybody had their own passion. They had different goals maybe, before they started this business. But usually people have jumped into this because they have felt some urge to do in this field. And whoever I have met, including you, myself, there was a different professional trajectory I was onto. And then suddenly there was a so strong need was felt that, in this lifetime, this is so much important to do, to contribute in this sector, because all the sectors wherever we see wrong things are happening, at least it is recognized at national level or global level. This is still not recognized, and only little bit is what we can do. But if we don't do it, then we cannot pass this responsibility to our next generation. It's going to be very difficult, and
Yeah.
that was very discomforting fact when I took at Harvard training, and the kind of facts were taught over there, real life scenarios by topmost people in animal rights and animal law. So I think that's what I keep hearing also. We meet in Vegan Fest, and we know these people are vegan, and why the hell they would start something like this, not only for sake of business, but there is a very very strong purpose people have. um,
Very true.
I,
Very true.
I have one question here. How was your children's reaction? Now they are very close to adulthood. How it has been their journey has been. Do you feel they had to compromise from nutrition aspect, from health aspect, in so many years?
Yeah, so extreme good question, Sagar, and very, very important question as well. So, as a mother, I have always been very protective of the fact that what my children are watching and what they are observing and what is coming on their vision thing or hearing for that matter. So, in the sense that while I would continue to watch the barbaric and videos and kind of continue to reiterate the fact of that yes, I have to remain an active contributor
True.
in the animal rights space, and yes, the fan moments I used to have towards people who used to be called animal terrorists. The ALF. I mean, ALF is you say ALF and I get goose pimples. Animal Liberation Front people
Okay.
who typically raid the slaughterhouses and they just
Right.
rescue the animals and take them away. Uh, and in fact, as a child, I used to fantasize being such a person myself.
Correct.
And I still remember that day in London when my husband actually came back from work and he had picked up a newspaper from the tube,
The subway
the
system.
yeah, yeah,
Correct.
yeah. And that was actually carrying the main page story on ALF. And I was like, oh God, these people exist. I mean, I used to be only fantasizing becoming one myself.
Wow.
So while watching all that, I had kept my children away from the screen. Uh, and they were 2 years, 3 years, 4 years of age during that time.
Too
And
tender age, yes, to know all those
yeah,
things actually.
yeah. So I was from that sense. I do. I mean, I do know of a lot of vegan mothers who actually do not keep away these things from their young children as well. But I have not been that kind of a strong mother, and my children have their own very very strong vegan journeys. Extremely strong, Sagar, because and very specific. Like for instance, when we were interviewed for their school here in Gurgaon, we knew that it's a school having midday meal system with them,
All right.
and we knew that the meals would be non-vegan. It would be vegetarian but non-vegan. But thankfully, the children were young and very young and not yet in that class from which the extended school hours used to be in that school. So, the midday meal would not have anyway started for them in the first year itself. So they took admission. I mean, as a family, like we got admitted. I mean, the Manan Manaswini twins, they got admitted in their school and I think nursery or some similar class. And by the time they came in that class, so the school's extended hours used to be from Diwali break onwards in that specific academic session. I think they were in class 1 or class 2 when the hours of the school on a daily basis they are used to increase. Like the school would get over by maybe 2 p.m., 2:30 p.m. and earlier it was getting over by maybe say 12 or 12:30 p.m. So तब उन्हें फिर वो lunch school में करना था. So now my children, they were pretty tiny. They were all in I think class 1 or class 2, and they said, "Mama, start looking for a school for us." I said,
Oh.
"Why? after the autumn break, they will be making us stay back. And then they would be giving us lunch. The lunch would have rotis with desi ghee and would have dahi and kadhi and paneer ki sabzi and whatnot. And I mean, we'll not eat. And so, you have enough time. You have like a 15, 20 days and find us another school. They were that specific.
Wow.
And during that time, India was also going through, unfortunately, yet one more pandemic of those times. Um, I think it was something started by birds only. Another tragic case of animals being uh, the contagion. Um, so during that time, the disinfection was at its peak. So
Okay.
people were being encouraged to sanitize with Dettol. So Dettol mops used to be there, and then the floors used to be mopped with Dettol, and the door knobs and the handles, the lift buttons used to be wiped clean by Dettol wipes and whatnots. Forgetting the name of that disease, I'll look up and I can inbox to you. Uh, maybe
Bird
swine or
flu,
something.
something similar? A swine?
Maybe.
No.
Yeah, yeah, bird flu maybe.
Swine flu was there on peak few years back.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So
Yeah.
now they are in class 11th, and that time they were in class whatever, like they were in class at one or two.
Right.
So that time. So um, yeah. So once then during that time we were in a retail store, um, and Manal wanted to pick up the bottle of Dettol, the ones which is used to dilute the mopping water. You put some drops into the water with which you mop the floor. So so I discouraged him. I said, Manan, I mean, it's tested in animals, and as a family, we don't buy it at all. Um, so he just kept it as his, for his thing. I mean, he did not respond anything further. When we came back from the shopping that day, I saw him going to the washroom and then emptying one bottle of Dettol antiseptic, which was lying in our house since many, many years. And he poured it in the wash basin. He opened it and poured it down the drain. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "No, Mama, Dettol is not vegan. You told me in the retail store." I said, "Oh God." So actually, to support the fact that Manan is a vegan by choice, and we are not imposing our vegan values on him, I wrote this incident in that application, which I had to then submit to the school
Okay.
to actually tell them that, boss, the kids are vegan out of their own choice. It's not that they are being deprived of the so-called yummy chocolates and cakes and pastries and whatnots. They are themselves not willing to be a part of the cruelty of animals system, and even their father is a non-vegan. And whenever they get to see him eating kheer or drinking milk tea outside, which used to happen at times, like occasionally, so they used to not like it, and they used to come to me and kind of nudge me that, Mama, Papa is eating kheer which is having milk in it. And so I've always kind of taken the path of not being very volatile or not being very aggressive with my husband, and he's the one who's a very big support to my vegan venture.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, so they were very very active vegans on their own during their childhood, and then the second school to which they got admitted in the boarding school, that has stories of its own, where initially they did have their struggle as vegans, but the school happily accepted not just their vegan values, but the school has been kind enough to actually give them the vegan alternatives, and the typically dairy laden food item is being made, which was not the case with the school for the initial 1 or 2 years. The
Right.
school was in the mindset that seeing so many non-vegan children all around them and living with them on a 24 hours basis, Manaswini may turn non-vegan themselves,
Right.
but they had decided to kind of remain on their vegan path and to make do with lesser variety of the vegan options that used to be given on the in the dining hall. So finally, the school understood that it's not coming from the parents as a strong dictum of sorts, but the children are remaining vegans on their own volition, which is when the school succumbed to their vegan stance and started giving them good vegan options. So yeah, and a lot of children come up to them during the school, and they express to them that how they are also wanting to drop animals from their diet. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, so that's been a part of the whole thing. Yeah.
So okay, and you, so they definitely have managed their way out in their
Yeah,
own
and their
journey.
sports, yeah. So both of them are very good in sports,
Uh-huh.
because you had touched upon the nutrition part.
Yes,
So
that's what I wanted to
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So Manaswini Touchwood is a very good runner.
Mm-hmm.
She runs very well, and she is able to win even if she has fever.
Oh.
Once or twice it has happened like that, and Manan is very very good in football, and is both of them are totally into sports, and I
And
strongly believe that sports is something which a nutritionally inadequate person will not be able to handle for long. So
so they are very competitive kids
yeah,
that way. Yeah. So okay,
yeah,
fine. Yeah.
competitive in
And
sports, yeah,
yeah, great. And and
yeah.
and you were you monitoring their diet very closely? Were you taking that test regularly so that you are sure that there is no compromise is happening? Maybe B12, maybe any kind of other deficiency which we might need to be careful about. Like, were you doing those things?
So, very early on in my life, I once saw a gentleman who was actually in a fair, who was giving away free CDs to people on the reality of McDonald's. Uh, and so he told me something which has stuck on to my mind, that if a thing is good, it is good on the whole, and if a concept is exploitative in its spirit, it's bound to be exploitative all across, So just keep your eyes closed and just kind of think about whether a concept is appealing to your inner self as a good concept or as a villainous concept, as a negative concept, and then decide whether you want to adopt that concept in your life, or you just have to kind of see it go away. So um, that ways I'm a very spirit oriented person, and I believe that once you've taken that path, um, pathological tests have their own significance. Yes, I acknowledge. B12 has a huge significance, because that has been scientifically proven to be useful in our bodies for the brain development. That is on the basis of the studies done till now.
True.
So yeah, because science keeps on changing, and so so yes, they have always been given B12 on a regular basis. But apart from B12, the only thing which I have really cared for and made sure are a couple of rather general things. For instance, always and always giving them as much as wholesome vegetables and fruits as possible. I know I lost touch on their regular day-to-day dietary monitoring, because they joined the boarding school when they were in class 4. But even the school is very much conscious of what they give the children to eat, to non-vegans and vegans. Like they're a ragi and a millet conscious
They
school.
are in South India, right?
Yes, they are in South India. Yeah,
Yes,
so
yes,
they cook millets very often, and they do
yes.
ragi. So those things are there. So that way, I'm pretty satisfied with what the school offers them from the point of view of nutrition. Back here, so I would give them crazy things like pasta with beetroot, and so those things which any Indian mom would be familiar with, torturing her kids with nutritious food, and with doing away with things like maida, etc., as much as possible,
Okay.
and not giving them stale food. So we are
Sure.
no leftover eating the next day kind of a family. Uh, so these basic principles, and sattvic, and because then a food becomes stale, it becomes tamasic. So those things I have kept in mind, and the journey has been pretty comfortable. I've uh, as a part of the school, going and coming back, they already go through some pathological tests off and on, because the school wants to ensure that the child is, when they are joining back the school after the vacations, the child is healthy enough to sustain herself or himself in a boarding school, so that all those reports have always, should by the grace of God, always come fine.
Oh, very nice. So yeah, I think that gives a lot of confidence to people if they want to think about helping anybody or maybe their kids. But yeah, what is very important, what you said is that we should always maintain a good balanced diet with fresh vegetables, fruits, or least processed foods which can help us. And then yes, B12 is something which we always read about, so those things can actually take care. And yeah, and there is one thing, maybe 2 years back, when you had visited my home, and then that day family
Yeah,
offered you that let's have lunch together,
yeah,
and coincidentally that was a Bakri Eid,
yeah.
and you said you are on fast. So
Yes, yeah, yes, Sagar. I remember. I knew that this would come up. So, as a child, actually, it hit me when this festival, this so-called festival, which has this extremely cruel name like Bakri Eid, did fall in the month of April also once. It keeps on changing year on year, and April happens to be my birthday. I mean, during one date, like April 18 is my birthday. So it has been like, I think, once that Bakri Eid also fell on my birthday, and I mean, I felt totally disoriented that day. I was a child back then, and very very small, I think, or maybe I was at past school by then, college. Don't quite remember the exact phase of my life, but yeah, definitely past school and in college. So, but which year I don't remember. And I was unable to come to terms with that. How can I kind of be treating my my friends, and how can I be enjoying my birthday when so many thousands and lakhs of goats and lambs and sheep and whatnots are being slaughtered today so mercilessly and so cruelly, and I just couldn't take it. And then the next year onwards, though Bakra Eid did not fall on my birthday the next year, uh, I have always then kept a fast, more as a resolve to be contributing actively to the thought of that finally these animals would be given some kind of a solution out of their, some kind of a answer and some kind of a permanent solution to their misery,
true.
uh, and their miseries would end. And so I think my fast came about more as a resolve of, I think it was a combination of that. One, I just did not feel like eating anything that day,
Right.
which may not have been the case of, say, someone like Mahatma Gandhi, who would keep fasts. I think his fasts used to be primarily focused on maybe resolve, and uh, but mine was also to do with that I just could not get myself to swallow anything that day, and
And it's been many
yeah.
years now you have been following same routine.
Yes, yes, I was. In fact, I met someone extremely helpful, and extremely senior in vegan entrepreneurship encouragement scene in Bangalore uh, once. Uh, and yeah, it was Bakri that day, and I was not eating anything, and yeah, even he had that moment of that, array, oh, and but this year I was, in fact, this Bakrid, I did not continue the fast because I was undergoing some medications, unavoidable medications. So as vegans, we try to avoid taking allopathy medicines as much as possible. But I would not advise, if anyone is wanting an advice, uh, to kind of go into that trap of falling ill. I mean, highly ill. If
True.
if medication is like a halka phulka medication, I think everyone should avoid, like a sir dard, bukhar.
True.
आराम से ही लेना चाहिए दवाई. but अगर ज़रूरत है तो because we have to be around for the cause to win. We have to be around for the mission to succeed. So yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, thanks a lot for that. Like, just one question. You started the business, which was like, way back in 2013,
yeah, yeah.
13,
2013.
right? And a completely new product, unknown potential in the market. And now we still know that now people are much more confident about the potential exists in market, because globally things are changing. A lot of PR is also helping out, and in a positive way. Celebrities are helping somewhere a lot to create this awareness. But at that time, 2013 was unheard of when you start something like this.
Yeah,
And also be very strong on resolve. Like it is so difficult. I feel I've been vegan for like last 7 years, but the toughest journey of vegan life, like vegan life and professional life, has started when we started this venture. As there are so many challenges we face up front, though resolve is there. It's not that I get tempted to do something, but the push which comes inside, that ये होना चाहिए, चलो इससे बात करते हैं, let's try to be little proactive in talking about these things. Somewhere that gets compromised when you get into the business. वहाँ पे वो challenge आ जाती है, because now business takes the front. एक्टिविस्ट वाला सेल्फ थोड़ा सा वहाँ पे बैठ जाता है. एंड देन वी ट्राई I try to do that. I try to explain myself, okay, this is one way of activism only. I should not feel bad about it if I'm not able to do something proactively straight towards animal rights. How it has been for you? It's going to be
yeah.
10 years now.
Yeah, yeah. So extremely transformative, Sagar. In the initial years of my vegan entrepreneurship, I did try to consciously suppress my activism part, um, but I wasn't being happy doing that. And then slowly and gradually, true colors started coming about, and
Okay.
even as recent as a couple of years back, I had a showdown with during one of my business presentations, um, and
Can you talk about that? Possible?
so both of us are a part of a business organization.
All right.
And yeah, so I'll just kind of leave it at that. But yeah, so there was this presentation wherein it had to be about my business. So I just spent about, I think maybe say 2.5 minutes, or maybe 1, 2, 3 minutes max on why White Cup.
Okay.
And there were no gory scenes, there were no cruelty scenes. But yes, there was kind of that why White Cub. So
As a
why?
name or as a business, why did you started White Cub?
No, no. So as a business,
As a business, okay. Why you started vegan ice cream business, basically?
yeah. Why did I start a dairy alternatives
Okay.
business? Yeah. So
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
you get the context, right?
Got it. Yeah.
It's like so little bit of just kind of just letting the people know that boss, this is the reality of dairy, and then now we are moving on. I'm telling you about the different flavors we have in the ice creams, and this is the parlor and the franchisee, these are the retail stores, blah blah blah.
Right.
So all that was a part of that package, but I was pulled up later on by the by the main organizers of that whole event, and they advised me not to it's not in the best of my business interests to actually tell people any small bit about the why,
Correct.
and they encouraged me as to just talk about the how and not the why. So I carried on that path for some time, but then thankfully enough, I got I encountered some more vegans in that organization, and so yeah, so I do feel very light about what I do and why I do what I do. So I don't consciously keep on hiding it. And yes, whenever during the pre-COVID era, when the food distribution and the food sampling giveaways as a part of vegan activism was on, in Delhi, for example, in the public places like Lodi Garden, etc. I would be happily going there myself sometimes, though not as much time, as many times as I would have ideally gone or I should have gone. But yes, I do remember kind of, speaking to people and then helping the other people give the samplers of lassi or chach or whatever, because our ice creams are such that they require refrigerated thing, are all around. So
Right.
giving away as ice cream as samplers, we have not done it across a street or in the public place as such. But always around for vegan activism, yeah. I mean, I wear my
Hmm.
activism on my sleeves. I tried hiding it for a while, and I did try telling people that compassionate choices is because the company's name, Compassionate Choices Private Limited, because we want to encourage people to be compassionate towards their own health. Yes, that is there, but that's the secondary. Primary is be compassionate towards non-human animals, be compassionate towards the vulnerable living beings. And I think we are speaking on the occasion of Independence Day, which happens to be the day after tomorrow. And
True.
Mahatma Gandhi has said, and
He
the way
tried to
that
be
he,
vegan as much as possible as well. Like,
yeah.
have you read his autobiography?
Yes, of course I
Amazing.
have.
Yes.
Made by
Yes.
Page, and I
Yes.
really like that book. It's so brutally honest,
Yes.
and yeah. So the way the country treats its animals is how you can estimate the greatness of that nation.
True.
So it is not for nothing that these people have come by and said all this, and yeah. So yeah, and the journey continues to be on. Yeah.
Yes, so I think you give the idea about White Cub and so how it has been the progress. It's been 10 years, close to 10
Yeah.
years, sorry. But how the progress has been. I just checked your website. Probably White Cub is available across 100 retail stores now.
Yeah.
So how did you started from Delhi north and then cold chain, very difficult part. So how was the
Yeah.
expansion? Can you give some idea about that?
Yeah, I think a couple of things helped us to do what we have done. One, we never knew the risks involved, so we just jumped into the fire, not knowing that it is burning hot here. And
Okay.
once you are inside the well of fire, you've got to kind of survive. So no point trying to scale up the well and trying to go out. You will anyways burn yourself. Might as well stay put, stay there, stay cozy therein, and fight till you get what what you have set out yourself on.
Yep.
And a couple of things which have always helped us on in our work is that we've always truly believed in giving others what as a family I am comfortable in eating. So, for
Yes.
instance, if I'm not comfortable with consumption of interesterified fats, it's a very debatable topic. Nonetheless, I always feel that trans fats or interesterified fats are best if are best avoided. So we do not take the route of using these some kind of these ingredients, for example, interesterified fats, either in our ice creams or in our butter now. um, and similarly, we also believe in no wrong labeling, uh, and that has actually taken us extremely long to launch our new product line, which is butter.
Yes.
Um, so,
I think it's been
yes,
2 days. The butter was launched.
yeah, approximately, Sagar. I
Okay.
mean, I feel so thrilled because this takes White Cup one step closer to the mission of liberating the male calves from the exploitation which they undergo in dairies, from the cruel tortures which the male calves and the mother cows and buffaloes go through in the dairy. And this happens to be coming on the solemn occasion of Independence Day. So yeah, so I feel extremely happy and joyful, about the timing of the launch on the 75th Independence Day of our nation. Though I'm not like a nationalist per se, but yes, I do have my crazy moments for India as a country. And so yeah, and so the labeling ought to be right there, because as vegan entrepreneurs, I feel that it's better if we kind of remain on the path of believing in the Indian legal system and believing in the Indian laws and labeling system, and thereby trying for greater reforms within the laws while complying with the same which are existing.
So, what
Because
do you mean by labeling? Like, are you talking about people actually don't put, all the right information on the label, something like that?
one is that, of course. I
Okay.
mean, lot of yeah. So yeah, in short, one is this. The other is that there is a reason why FSSAI. If you go into the details of FSSAI's laws, there is a reason why you can actually edit out this part. This may become controversial.
Okay.
So yeah. So why? So you actually you cannot write vegan butter.
Yeah, that is correct. Yes, that controversy is going on.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. So
already restriction has already been laid out, or it is still under.
नहीं सागर एक्चुअली होता क्या है ना, वीगन बटर लिखने से वो एफएसएसआई में लॉज और क्लॉजेस और ये जो सारे चैप्टर्स हैं ना, उसके पूरे बाइबल के इतने सारे हैं अलग अलग
Correct.
कि वन इट इज नॉट इजी टू डिसाइफर ऑल.
Correct.
And second, if you go to a credible co-manufacturer, they will not agree to comply with your whims and fancies. कि जी अच्छा ठीक है, आपको ये चाहिए लेबल पे लिखा हुआ तो ये बना के दे देंगे.
Right. I saw
And
it. You have mentioned buttery. You have not
yeah,
mentioned butter, right? So
yeah,
that, yeah, correct.
yeah,
So,
and yeah. So and we cater to the people who are having dairy allergy, lactose intolerance, who have cancer in their families, who have who are on a CFGF diet because of autism of their children. So very extremely vulnerable section of people who are having health issues. So it is only fair for us to be giving them all genuineness and all sincerity. I mean, if they believe in labeling laws, then uh, what kind of an arrogant attitude is this, that wherein we end up mixing few things, and just because a thing is vegan, finally,
all right.
I'm not too comfortable. I feel that the right path of vegan is while taking the recourse to nutrition. So keeping a healthy balance of nutrition and taste, that is where I come from. So I'm not too comfortable selling starch as cheese, for instance, just because you put some flavoring of cheese into starch, because as a nation, as a country, we've kind of given dairy to our children because we felt that dairy is nutritious. So have some, acknowledge that need of the parents in India, and don't just blindly follow the aspect of functionality. Is what I believe in as an entrepreneur, that functionality is an excellent feature to have, but I feel it's too much of a dictum coming from the West, maybe. I'm assuming because we are not yet educated enough as a community to be actually evolving our own principles of entrepreneurship. So we all actually end up doing what's coming from there. And so functionality is a very big celebrated term there, because within the umbrella of functionality, you can give thousands of such products which are actually nutritionally zero. So just because they are made to their chemical chemistry is such, their biochemistry is such that वो चल जाएगा, वो चाय में भी चल जाएगा, वो ब्रेड पे भी लगा के खा लोगे, वो फंक्शनैलिटी होना चाहिए. न्यूट्रिशन, अरे यार वो एजुकेटेड लॉट है, वो अपने आप न्यूट्रिशन का ध्यान रख लेगा. I do not believe in that. I feel that we have the responsibility of ensuring that if a customer is taking something of our creation, they ought to be given some they are being given something, from the aspect of the macro and the micro nutrients. So I try to do that as much as possible within the budgets, of course, within the without succumbing to yet one more aspect, which is vegan is niche, so vegan can be expensive, and rather vegan should be expensive, because um, I strongly feel that so a lot of
That's the issue. Sorry, what I feel is, also being, somewhat also inclined towards, healthy eating and all. And definitely the cause at heart. I feel, consumer have that responsibility, that they should read the label well. Second is, if making it completely pro health, any food can become very expensive. Though I feel that best and best source of our health should come from fresh produce like fruits and vegetables, seasonal, all this stuff. But when it becomes any kind of processed food, it can be ice cream, butter, cheese, mayonnaise, mock meats, anything. That's where indulgence takes the precedence, right? And that's where, if that becomes so expensive, it won't be scalable. I'm just saying from the point of view that for sake of making it just functional, that should not be the point. But then how can we make scalable so that more and more people can afford it, one, and then because of that, this movement can also spread faster. Health education should be there, as important. I'm saying, like every day probably you won't eat butter, every day you won't be eating ice cream as well, every day people won't be eating mithai, laddus, jalebi or something like that. And people know it, that if I'm eating it today, I know that I'm making some kind of compromise here. So
Yeah, so everyday butter, yeah. So some butters are healthy enough to be eaten daily. Yeah.
okay, so correct. People, why many people would be okay also opting to eat bread and butter every day, and I understand that people have that kind of staple breakfast. But then it becomes so difficult. Um, what do we do in that case? Okay, for example, the butter, what you have recently launched. How is it? You know, how it is different from any butter, without taking any name. I'm saying
Yeah,
how it is
yeah.
different.
Yeah, we've made it from coconut oil. Uh,
Yes.
uh, we've not added a cocktail of different oils. The one different oil, except for coconut, is sesame oil. It's a very interesting aspect which I would love to share here for the benefit of other entrepreneurs if they are listening in. Sesame oil is actually a mandate by the government of India's FSSAI body to actually be able to detect any adulteration of vegetable fats into desi ghee and into pure butter. So
Okay.
there is a specific test which they do when they pick up samples of desi ghee from the market shelves, and if and if sesame oil laden margarine is added into that desi ghee, it gets detected because it's illegal to make any margarine in India without adding a little bit of sesame oil.
Okay.
Like it's in the range of 2 to 3%.
Oh, that's a mandate. You have to add sesame oil.
Yes,
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
yes. It's a compulsory thing. So that is
Okay.
why, in fact, you will come across this ingredient in few other vegan butters as well in India.
Okay.
And that's the reason why we have put sesame oil. But while many other brands may not have gone ahead and given this reason out in the public, we are all there here to educate. And then maybe they've already told. I do not know. And then another interesting feature, which in fact I came across yesterday. Because we have not put any specific preservative, like
It's a
potassium
cold chain
sorbate.
product, right? It's a cold
It is
chain
a cold
product.
chain product. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yes. We have not put any. We have not put potassium sorbate, which does the job of a preservative.
Okay.
And if you happen to check,
I have known that ingredient for sure, read on many food labels as well. So I understand, that it is used as,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
sure.
if you happen to check a couple of other butter players, yeah. So it's written preservative free in the description,
Uh huh.
while in the ingredients potassium sorbate is written.
Okay.
So Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, and then D2, we consciously got our butter enriched D2 because Indians across have a deficiency of vitamin D,
True.
and B12 of course because B12 ought to be there in a vegan food item,
Correct.
and yeah, and so we've taken as much of a detailed labeling as feasible. As I talk to you, I'm looking at the label of the for packet and just
I
showing
looked
that
at it. Yes, D and it is fortified with D and B12. So yeah,
yeah,
and
and we are a zero fractionated oil product as well. So
Mhm.
fractionated oil is yet another component under which a lot of ghapla happens in the Indian food scene.
What is that?
फ्रैक्शनेटेड ऑयल एक्चुअली ऐसा कॉन्कॉक्शन होता है सागर की जिसमें फाइनली पता ही नहीं चलता है कि क्या क्या डला हुआ है
Oh, okay.
उसमें उसमें रुई का तेल डाल देंगे या उसमें मूंगफली का तेल है या उसमें सोयाबीन का है या उसमें नारियल का है कुछ नहीं पता चलता this I
Okay.
discovered last year
Okay.
when we were undergoing when we were making the samples undergo rigorous different series of lab testings. So that's where we discovered that it's extremely difficult to actually catch the scope of adulteration. So at times, so a vegan entrepreneur ought to remain extremely careful of the source of ingredients. So just because we are good at heart, it does not really translate into the vendor being good in intentions or also. So the auditing has to be very rigorous when it comes to ingredient sourcing and ensuring what is going on at the facility of the co-manufacturer also. So are there licenses in place, for example?
True. Yeah. So how is the butter like? Because it has coconut oil. Does it have? Does will it have a lot of aroma of coconut?
No, so it tastes just like the regular Indian, the unfortunately the most famous uh, Indian brand of
Butter, which is used in pav bhaji and so many different applications across. Yeah.
दूध नहीं पीता इंडिया.
Acha, wow. Okay, that brand you are talking about. Understood.
Yeah, so that's the
Yeah,
brand that
that taste is so addictive. I still remember the taste, and I still crave for it. I understand. So
yeah, so दूध नहीं पीता in India. In fact, a few days back, I was meeting up with one of our first customers of our rice teams. She was all of 11 years of age when she became a customer, and now she's an accomplished film producer and filmmaker herself. So she was giving me the comfort. She said, "Auntie, don't you worry. Can't you see that even they are entering the vegan sector?" I said, "How? I mean, how come you are saying this? They are all over the place and they're always bullying
true.
vegan entrepreneurship through different formats. Auntie, haven't you seen their wide variety of vegan chocolates?" I said, "Yes, I have seen, and I've also eaten." And said, "Auntie, haven't you noticed their lactose-free milk?" I said, "Yes, but it's not vegan." She said, "Yes, but at least they are starting to acknowledge that not all the Indians are actually comfortable with digesting of the milk sugar. So actually, it is diluting the whole line, which is
Correct. So
whatever dash
to,
pita hai India."
today I saw Money Control also wrote one editorial article about that
Okay.
they have to be actually open to this kind of business verticals.
They are very
Unfortunately,
much open. Open to hai. आ रहे हैं
okay,
लोग.
let's see how it goes. But yeah, I think that would be interesting. That would revolutionize so many things in India. Okay, now I want to understand what all you do at White Cup.
What will I do at my cup?
Yeah.
Very important question. So by now, I have come on on the journey of becoming um, tough with myself because I have started the process of loosening out my sense of control on everything because that was letting me in the micro level of our operations and the macro was suffering because of it. So much to the discomfort of my core team members, I started giving them more responsibility of whatever they were doing themselves till now. In any case, they were doing it themselves, but they would always come. I would always encourage to have the final look before the thing goes ahead.
Right.
But what was happening in the process, Sagar, I was stifling the growth of my colleagues, and I was stifling the growth of the company because they're all like myself present. So I have started doing the delegation, and uh, and yeah, and what all I do myself, auditing of agents I do myself,
Okay.
talking to the high potential clients I do myself, contacting the high revenue customers myself, I do myself. Uh, so and
Are you still traveling the way you used to do earlier? Like,
yes,
you have been
yes.
traveling a lot.
Yeah, during COVID time, I did not travel at
Yep.
all. My last trip happened to Bombay. I think last month after I think about a year and a half. But yes, I do whatever it takes um, for me to succeed in what I do because it's not just my responsibility. I owe it to the people who have supported me till now,
True.
and talking of which, in fact, my 15, 16-year-old son is a sense is somewhat of a business coach to me in his own peculiar ways because he was extremely hassled during his stay here during the COVID phase two. They were here for some time. They had gone in January and then had come back in March. Some, the way the schools were in India during this time. But now, thankfully, as I speak to you, it may come as a surprise to many. They are in their school. They are
Oh,
all back at home. Yeah. So he was very particular about doing this whole marketing thing of Mama pre-booking. Pre-book the orders. So he was very excited about this. Mama pre-book, pre-book. And so I'm happy that yeah, we've kind of done this small gesture of sorts in our own interesting and fun ways, and so that's his idea, and I had to.
pre-booking of butter.
Yeah, I mean, so his idea was, Mama, that before it enters the shops,
All right.
you've got to be kind of, selling it yourself and, pre-book and do some off, some percentage from the real MRP and give.
Correct.
So
He's following a lot of trends in e-commerce these days. So,
yeah,
correct.
then he was the first one who actually tasted vegan ice creams at India. India's entire vegan community is eternally favorite Beam Me Up in Goa, which was I think in the year maybe two, 2011 or maybe 2012, 2011 I think, and we had a vegan ice cream there made from tofu, and
Oh,
we enjoyed it because कुछ तो मिलता नहीं था उसमें,
yeah, yeah.
तो वही बहुत अच्छा लगा
Correct.
और and we were very thankful to Sean Rodriguez for giving all those vegan options back then, and and came out and then he said to me that Mama, why can't we have this in Delhi? And the stupid mom that I was, I said yes, sure, beta. And then finally, I mean, the journey started of finally coming up with White Cup. So yeah, so he has a strong sense of being the guiding spirit in my business. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So they would be like he would be joining any soon the business.
No,
No.
Sagar, no. So he has his own. He's a commerce guy, and yeah, he would be kind of not. Yeah, we have a very strong chemistry of our own. So I would rather wish him to be kind of doing well in his life.
Okay.
Yeah, too soon to actually say.
Yeah, yeah, like 16, 17, I understand, but yeah, probably in Horizon you might be seeing your
Yeah, in
children to also join, right? Because they have already
Horizon, yes.
imbibed this.
Yes,
So,
very true. Yeah, so very, very true. Yeah, so in Horizon, certainly he will be a part of the setup if he wants, and my daughter will not be a part of the setup because she doesn't want. and she's more like a social worker of sorts, and more inclined towards helping people by joining
Mhm.
government jobs, and that kind of a mindset she has. So I respect her for having that, and yeah.
And what has been, what has been distinct challenge as a female entrepreneur? Uh, scene is very different, right? Anywhere I'm saying, not only India, everywhere it is always
So
said bit difficult to be in that spot. One is, you have all the responsibility which has been coming in as per the traditions and all, and second is, being in business and setting up something like this.
Two, three things I'll quickly try to wrap up. One is that I was extremely fortunate, extremely touchwood, all over touchwood, to have the husband whom I have, because he's always believed in, being secured and feeling safe about me when I'm outside. So he's not one of those hassled husbands who would call up after every 1 hour that where I am if I'm out on work, and if it's suppose late evening. And whenever I have traveled across, or into the whenever I've gone into the bylanes of you know kharab, gandhi, कीचड़ वाली गलियां, and कूचे and सड़कें, kind of find out the machines or
Mm-hmm.
the suppliers or the distributors, um, and I've had crazy incidents. Like one of them is coming to my mind, that I was also I had this thing of traveling with a cop to the warehouse of a distributor who had vacated the premises and who had, you know, champat away he had done with our money. तो अलग
You
अलग
had something similar in Bangalore as well, right?
हाँ वही वाला इंसिडेंट.
Oh, okay.
हाँ.
Oh.
तो पुलिस वाले के टू व्हीलर पे पीछे बैठकर और आप जा रहे हो, मतलब कुछ नहीं आइडिया की. So yeah, so those experiences, and then that was on a lighter side, but even within Delhi,
Hmm.
And whenever I have gone to these areas, I have initially I used to be feeling awkward about being the only woman in those streets and in those shops, and negotiating, talking, and finding out, and holding things, and women can be very finicky when it comes to cleanliness. So, those things have kind of also been a part of this journey of trying to economize, trying to look for good stuff while, um, paying. Yeah, so that is there. The good part is that whenever I have come back home and whenever I have shared it with my husband, he
Hmm.
has always told me an extremely positive thing, that Sonal, you are making things easier for your daughter,
Hmm.
by taking the paths which you are on to now, by going on those routes, by going on those roads where you venture on to. You are making it safer for your daughter, and much more opportunities will open up for younger women to actually not feel shy or not feel awkward about going to these men, dominated by men kind of places.
Thanks a lot for sharing that. I think, uh, anyway, this is not very easy journey what you have taken, or people similarly in your kind of situation, or maybe the kind of system we have, and so that's very encouraging. And thanks a lot for sharing all the insights. Now, one last thing. I know that White Cub is looking to expand, and if people want to reach out, if they are looking for franchisee, retail store, can you share any of your email address or contact details so that it becomes easier for people to reach out to you?
For franchisee, I think there's a form on the website www.whitecub.in. We are Safed Sher Ka Bachcha, which is White Cub.
Yes, we'll put it there. So yeah, okay. So from there, and that emails are directly accessed by you itself, right? So it's
No,
not
the
that.
emails are not accessed by me from there. My email ID is sonal, sonel, @ whitecub.in.
Okay.
and in subject they can write reference within the comment box. So I'll ensure that I'm certainly opening the mail on time.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. We'll also put it on screen. So that's a good way to reach out to you. And we are very keen to start White Cub in Bangalore. I think we are stuck with some kind of negotiation. I know you are a very tough negotiator. So we have to close it somewhere. We are also doing our cold chain testing internally in Bangalore. Once it is done well, then we would be really, really looking forward to start White Cup. So thanks a lot, Sonal, and I must thank you again because the journey for Vegan Dukan and previous to that Vegan Ho, you had given the push. You asked those real questions to me that Sagar, if not now, then when will you start? And that actually encouraged and helped me to take the plunge. So I must